Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Do it live.
Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to another Wired Axcess podcast. I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. To my left, I have the LFA Association ring announcer, Mike Kendall. But he doesn't just stop at cage fighting ring announcement. It's anything and everything. But I tell you, man, you know, it's in the voice. I had you once before as actually for an introduction for a segment that I used to do back in the day. You remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
And
I completely spaced that off.
Once you get that voice going, once you get, you know, that the energy matters. No matter the event, it matters. As you guys, sometimes I've said a few times, I DJ games, whether it's volleyball, football, basketball, wrestling. You're playing with emotions. The same thing goes for announcing. One thing that I always have struggles with, and obviously we'll get to it later on with you to see how you could challenge yourself and what you do, is where the heck did you start loving to want to be the announcer? And did you play sports growing up that you know you had to kind of start making decisions?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, I was, of course, I wanted to be an athlete, like badly when we were kids growing up. I think my first organized sports I ever did was baseball. Baseball has always been a pretty decent part of my life. It was like back in '87, and we went undefeated, you know, in that league, and yeah, I mean I was hooked from that moment on. I mean, I always, you know, coming to visit my dad here in Omaha. Became Omaha Royals fan, Kansas City Royals fan. Have been since about 84, 85.
Okay.
And but you know, to answer, so yes, I love baseball. Unfortunately, a bad injury. I broke my leg in half when I was 10. Kind of stunted the greatness that I was going to be in that field. So obviously, you turn and you look for other things. I've sang my whole life. And so, you know, voice stuff, you know, mimicking the television, mimicking the radio, stuff like that, you know, kind of put me into like a more vocal based kind of, you know, interest as a kid growing up, going to the circus and watching the ring master or whatever his position. Like, you know, I'm never going to be able to do all these acrobatic, you know, stunts and anything like that. But man, what it would be to have a job like that. And going to events, I've always just kind of, you know, my ears perked whenever you heard the PA announcers talking and stuff like that. And it's so, I always wanted to replicate that as a kid growing up. And especially, you know, Michael Buffer then.
I was just going to ask, come on now, you got to have some names.
Man.
I mean,
of course, you know, Michael Buffer doing the, you know, trying to replicate, you know, let's get ready to rumble. That was something I did a lot, you know.
And when you think of it, you know, obviously you go from playing and you go to this aspect of loving what you're seeing. What's some of the characteristics that you're seeing in these people that you're like, okay, that's me. I got that. Obviously your voice has came to who you are today, and people always reach out for that voice. Mm-hmm. But is there any other tactics that you saw these people instill and you're like, okay, I could see myself doing that because of that?
Certainly. I mean, and like when I first really took announcing as an interest in wanting to make it, you know, to do it, you know, it never, you know, like, oh, I want to make a living doing this, or I'm going to make a living doing this. It was, you know, wow, I would love to do that. My brother took me to an extreme challenge fight at, I think it was Harvey's Casino back then.
Oh,
I don't know if
man.
it was Harris. I don't know if it was Harris yet, but took me to a fight there because they said, this is what I'm into. This is what I'm doing. Come watch this, you know. And
that's when they did the cages outside, right?
No,
like,
this was well before that. Yeah, this was before that. This is I cannot remember what year it was, but definitely I saw Big Papa Schnocky. He was the announcer at that, and I'm like, wow, man, I could really, you know, do this. So fast forward, you know, years down the road, I ran into this gentleman that, you know, that I started working concrete for, Phil Henderson. And I was like, man, you know, it'd be really nice to get involved in this business somehow. I don't want to sell shirts with you guys. I mean, I want to get into the mix. I want to be a part of it. Find it. Can you help me find a promoter that'll give me a chance? And when he's like, you know what, I have somebody in mind, Marty Anderson, go talk to him. And so when they're like, we'll give you a shot. So wow, this is real. I'm actually going to have an opportunity to do this. So of course, to answer your question, excuse me, there's been announcers that I've loved their style. Obviously, Michael Buffer, the Godfather. But even before that, I mean, you got Jimmy Lennon, and then now Jimmy Lennon Jr. I love the cadence of Jimmy Lennon Jr. The way that he says words, and he puts it together, and it's
you're moving with it and that's like even with the music, like obviously that's what I really love. But I've been a MC for so many DJs because they don't like not everybody wants the mic.
No,
not everybody wants the mic, but I get it. The cadence, the really feeling each word that they're saying, not just they're just rambling off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and gosh, a good friend of mine now, Joe Martinez, he announced the WEC before the UFC purchased them, and I mean, he still does a lot of. Now he is the secondary ring announcer to Bruce Buffer there at the UFC, and like I have conversations with Joe a lot because he kind of mentors me in a lot of different ways. But yeah, you have to engage your crowd. You have to connect with them on a level. This is not, you can't just sit there and present something. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast yesterday, and he's like, you can't just present this stuff, especially in these intimate type settings. You have to really connect with your crowd and then have them, kind of meld that energy of their energy and your energy together. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so many different types of hype men. There's the ones that expect something that they might not have earned yet, because I don't know about you, but sometimes you can't always feel like you can ask for throw your hands in the air because the timing doesn't meet the pad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
certainly.
If you read your crowd and like you said, you're melting, you're growing with them, and that's what I like about this show is, I mean, we're looking at so many different avenues on sports that just because you didn't make the team that you thought you wanted doesn't mean there is an opportunity. I mean, we talk to esport gamers, we talk to trainers, we talk to people who have experienced sports all the way until you can't because you decide on something else. And when you think of all this voice stuff, what was your first event that you remember? And did you try to do it for your school? Because I noticed back when we were growing up, what kids get to do nowadays with the media and all that for their school was not an option. Yeah, you could be a part of the yearbook, you could be a part of that, but going and being the guy who's the commentator for your high school football game on the radio wasn't always an option.
No, that wasn't. No, it wasn't. The PA announcers and stuff like that, those were always adults,
teachers,
yeah, whoever. I got a really good opportunity because when I lived at the Omaha Home for Boys, I went to Benson for a little bit, between my Millard schooling. And Omaha Public Schools offered Career Center, the Career Center as an elective. So they had like introduction to TV and radio broadcasting. And I was like, I'm in.
Did they have the internet when you were doing it, like where you would go write code like HTML?
Oh,
because that was the three. That was the three because it was broken down into three when I went there. And I love the Career Center down there at Tech High.
Yeah.
It had the intro to radio. It had the intro to TV, but then they threw in computer where we were learning how to type the HTML before, now you got all these programs.
I don't even know if the internet was alive.
You're not that much older. Come on, man.
I mean, I'm 44. I mean, that's
only 4 years. That ain't that bad.
This is like 90. This was 95. 96.
Yeah. See, I'm only 97, 98 when I was at the Career Center, so it ain't that far. But I
don't remember computers ever being a part of it, dude. I believe that. I remember sitting in that booth and recording some old Frank Sinatra stuff, and then I had the tracks, it was, I mean, I don't feel like it was ever in a computer. I mean, it's not like I was over there like cutting and melding tape together or anything like that, but but yeah, I didn't get in that deep of it. I wanted to be on camera, dude. I didn't want anything to do with behind the scenes. Like, do I want to run a camera? No. Do I want to, no offense to the engineers that are out there. I mean,
Hey, I remember
I didn't want to do any of that stuff, dude. I just wanted to be I wanted to yuck it up in front of the camera. That's what
at the Career Center for our TV part. We were called the No Name Productions. That was our thing. That was our logo, No Name Productions. Yeah. And that's what we did. We did like this deodorant commercial, man. I remember like just thinking of like those opportunities that sometimes people just don't even know are available. Like they don't even know like the experimental part that you could do on each of those avenues to maybe just find something. So obviously you found that you want to be in front of the TV. You got a little bit there at the Career Center that not all kids take advantage of.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was in between your schooling part. Now, where do you go from there?
Well, I mean, my instructor there told me, I'll never forget this, because it was a blessing in disguise, really. He said, Mike, I understand that, you want to be rich and you want to be famous and you want to, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, you're darn right I do. Like this is what I'm going to make a living doing this. I'm not going to have to work hard. I'm just going to sit here and do this. He's like, I hate to burst your bubble, but unless you become syndicated, you're really not. There's not a lot of money in this business. It's gonna be really something that you're gonna struggle through life doing. And I want you to know that. I want to prepare you for that. And that way, I'm like, screw this. I'm out. Like, and it kind of squashed my dreams. At that moment, but was good though because they're in the middle of high school. I found concrete work and I learned how to work real hard and I did all that stuff. But I'd put those dreams on the to the curb
on the back burner
and went and learned how to just completely to kill it on a job site and to be something to do something, build something with my own hands. And anyway, so almost
but it's important
3 decades later,
like, people don't understand, like they don't understand like high school dreams, stuff where maybe what you're doing already for yourself wasn't great and you thought this is a way out, this is a way I can get going. Your teacher lays reality. Mm-hmm. But in turn, and at the moment, you're probably pissed off. You're like, man, I wanted this so bad.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it made you stronger to who you are today, and in the moment, you can't live like that. You'll never, ever be right and think, no, that teacher has the best interest for me.
Yeah, I mean, he kept it real with me. And I'd rather have that than someone blow smoke up my ass, and tell me that, you're going to be this and you're going to be that. And then your dreams are crushed in a different way,
Yeah, so. Because there's so much. And that's what people don't understand is like, even for what I do, like, we're like, man, you got so much going on. You're doing so many things. I said, but never once is it me. It's about whatever I'm getting from the story. It's about the high school kids that I'm trying to help just get one eye to see them on the field. Because there is how many football players in this world. There is how many baseball players. There is how many, so that's why I like this platform, because it's just like you said, though, money isn't on that other side unless you're syndicated or unless you're like, you have to find that avenue. So obviously, how do you get back into, commentating or announcing?
So, yeah. So then I talked to my buddy and I was like, find me a promoter that'll give me a shot. And I go and I do my first show. And then, to kind of go back to where we were, I was like, how am I going to do this? And so I basically started running through tape, I ran through tape on, obviously Michael Buffer to kind of freshen that up. I ran tape on Jimmy Lennon Jr. just because I loved always going to his boxing events and hearing, not going to them, but watching them and then, hearing how he presents. And then that kind of, to me, it was a very infectious style that he had. I just don't stop talking, keep going. I like how this story is going, and then Joe Martinez. So I meld so I found something I liked from each one of those guys. It's like, I love the classiness, the way that Michael Buffer would announce. I like the cadence of Jimmy Lennon Jr. and I like the style of Joe Martinez and the kind of the authenticity of the way he would in the way that he would announce Latin guys. He's a Latino himself. So I was like, okay, when I do this, dude, I want to make sure that I get these, that when I say their name, I want to say it the way that, their
They
parents,
want it. Yeah.
the way that their parents, like down to the, because there's so many, now fast forward, there's so many fighters that are like, wow, dude, you got my name right, dude. Like how, like no one ever, like all these other dudes. And I'm like, and that's the feather in my cap. I love hearing that.
And it's not something major. It's just a matter of taking that pride, taking that time. Yeah. And that's, I remember I announced for this one wedding, and I don't, if I'm a MC, you know how it goes. We don't meet them until the day of, so we have to make it seem like they've known us for years,
right? And
then we have to announce people we might not have seen the names until right then, and then they're like, "Well, you don't have to roll the R," and I'm like, "I got you." And then when they don't know, and they're standing right there because you're announcing, they're gonna be walking in, and you just throwing that, dude. The facial reaction, like people don't understand, like those emotions hit us and what we do so hard.
100%, dude. 100%.
So hard. So you get to that first event, you're buffing up, you're taking a little bit here, a little bit there. That way you can create the Mike Kendall
right.
way.
Well, I just little fractional details, and then I melded my own style, and then it's like, all right, well, I hope this works. So I go and do this first event. And I don't even hardly remember it. I remember I was wearing like a red short sleeve polo, some black pants, and some black dress shoes or something like that.
So you feel dressed up, but you're not the Mike Kendall at the
right.
It's
just like I'm not gonna go straight to a tuxedo because in case I fall flat on my face.
I got you.
I wasn't a poser. At least I wasn't a poser. I was just this dude that. I tried it and
I failed.
Not so good. It was his first event, It was his first event. Maybe it's not for him, but the affirmation came when after the show, another promoter that was there that did more regional, shows, bigger shows, and more often comes up to me. He's like, "Man, this was your first show. That's great, dude. Like you're good. This is for your first fight. You're really good. Come and do my stuff." And I'm like, sold, dude, done. Absolutely. Like, and I was just like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And my whole career has been very much kind of the same. It's just kind of snowballs. Didn't really have to go out and ask for a bunch of jobs. They started just kind of rolling in. People from, other states would come in and follow the fighters that from that same state. They would come and, word of mouth spreads a lot. And
now, did you see UFC fighting as your style of fighting that you wanted to do? Obviously, you said you love the boxing realm and you love that. Or did you find that was an easier route to get in because it's happening every weekend closer to you, maybe?
Well, yeah. So, as kids growing up, you watch Mike Tyson, you watch the Sugar Ray Leonards, you watch all those dudes, and that was just larger than life. And those were great, but none of that was going on around here, obviously. Fast forward now, Terrence Crawford is killing it. But when we were kids growing up, as far as I knew, it wasn't existent. But, there I am. I'm working construction for a guy that's like right in the middle of the local scene in MMA. And then the guy that I did that event for, the very first event for, he ran a gym out of his house, and I'm there rolling, he's like, I'm like, well, I better learn this, to talk about it and not know what, I'm talking about, what seems, inauthentic.
Yeah. When you don't get me wrong, there's things that we have to do to fake it to make it.
Oh, 100%.
But
still to this day,
if you really want to grow the Mike Kendall brand, you're gaining the knowledge from seeing what you're wanting to announce. And I just think when you get the energy from the fighters, you get the energy from what you're seeing, it helps portray out.
For sure, in work, in getting to work for that guy, he's like, hey, if you want to train here too, you could train here. He had an addition to his house that was 2 stories tall. He took the floor off the end that were in between, so it was a high ceiling, and it was basically like a basement floor, all the way, 14, whatever, however many feet, doesn't matter. But it was a gym, completely like matted off. The walls were matted and everything. And next thing you know, I'm rolling jujitsu and trying to roll jujitsu with like Anthony Smith and Brian Dunn, who's now the athletic commissioner in Nebraska. And I mean, a pioneer, he was there in the very beginning of the sport when it was, when it was no holds barred, when it was like crazy, like stuff.
I think when you see their grind, because I think sometimes people don't realize what fighters have to do to be at that level that they want to get to.
Oh, yeah.
And the grind that they have to go through. And obviously you're learning what they're doing on another level, but you're also seeing them grow each time. How did those relationships start for you? And what did you feel now that you see where they are now? Well, definitely. In the future.
You bring up a really good point, dude. Like, I think it might be just kind of the kind of people that we are as presenters and stuff like that. Like we feed off the energy and that we're in, if you go and MC parties, pretty soon, there you are partying with these people,
Yes.
You go and announce these fighters, you're going to be in their training and you're going to see kind of what they do. And you're going to want to learn and grow in the sport, not just talk about it, but be a part of it. Growing up the youngest of four brothers, 5 brothers, sorry, 3 of which were, stud athletes. I had, my older stepbrothers, one of them went on to play the NFL. The other one pitched, the 1990 state championship, Class A, won it for Millard North. My other brother, stud, full ride scholarship to UNK to play football. So it's like, I've always wanted to, rise up and be like be as good. Like, and if not anything, pursue greatness like they did. It's just through osmosis is kind of how you succeed in life, and that drive and that want to exceed in that, and watching these dudes like go on and do great things made me want to go on and do great things. And so, yeah, you're feeding off that energy of the people you're around.
But people don't understand sometimes the mental struggle that we go through, though, because we are trying to be better than who we are. Like, and it's sometimes it's hard because, like you said, there's no state championship for what we do. There's no, I mean, now they're doing competitions in high school, but there's nothing we can go do and go, you know what, we're the best effing announcer in this state. And I got this to prove it. Now, obviously the clout comes with the different programs that you start building and you grow.
Yeah.
That's our championship ring, by people going, I want that guy announcing. I want that guy DJing. I want that guy. Those are our championships every time.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's always coming in this big flood, like, that everybody thinks, oh yeah, they're always getting requests. Or they go, man, I forgot you announced. I forgot that.
Yeah.
And you're like, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is like all I do.
It's so crazy, dude. It's like when I fly home from all these events, dude, and then I run into people, out and about, and they're like, you still doing that announcing thing? I'm like, wow, yeah. I was just broadcasted across the world, last night I did a world championship, world championship fight. And then you're like, yeah. They're like, oh, cool. But yeah, I mean, the accolades, it took a long time before the accolades start kind of rolling in. Yeah. And like you say, championship ring, like it was crazy because my first season with the Omaha Beef in 2021, we won the CIF championship. And they gave me a ring too, my name's on it and everything. So it's like, wow, holy smokes, dude. It kind of relit the fire. I had been kind of, experiencing a little bit mundaneness. And I'm just like, wow, here's something else. Here's something else I can be good at, and excel in. But yeah.
So you brought up a word though, mundane. Okay.
Yeah.
How
The
you
grind.
get into, you're on that grind.
Yeah.
What was the reset? What do you remember even thinking before you got to that reset? Like, was there a thinking, man, should I go do something else? Should I, because like we said, we're not afraid to say it. Money isn't everything in what we do.
Certainly. Definitely there's, I did concrete work. I retired again. just this last year. I said I'm not going to touch this stuff anymore.
So when you see him, do you do concrete?
No. So I told myself, man, I'm done doing this. It's
we
kind
ain't
of
getting any younger.
It's destroyed my body. It's turned me into a very old man real quick, So you're right. You speak about the money. I mean, I don't make half of what I made as a concrete foreman, but I was grinding 65, 70, 75 hours a week. And it was destroying me, mentally, physically. So here I am.
Oh, you're telling me money didn't cure it?
No. Yeah, no, I didn't have time to spend it. It was just all going towards, property and animals and all that.
Because that's what I tell people, like when they're like, man, you're always busy. I go, but nothing I do is a job. Nothing I do I go, gosh, I don't want to come in and do that interview. No, it's because I set it up. This is the people I want to talk to.
True.
Like those mental things, and obviously not everybody can get into that situation. It took many years of grinding to get to where I can do what I do. And I'm blessed to have a wife at home that does support it. But it's still not easy, because if I'm not moving or I'm not doing something or event, I'm not making money. It isn't like it's just coming hands over fist, but it's also something, we're grinding. So obviously you get to where you're turning back, you're thinking, man, is this what I want to do?
But you adapt. You have to adapt your life. Of course, I'm not making the money I made as a concrete guy, but man, I look at the things I get to do, like the traveling I get to do, cost free, because all my travel is always, all my expenses are always, provided and paid for. I don't take that into consideration, that is actually income as well.
Yes.
And some of the crazy places that the LFA has taken me, I just did a fight last month in Niagara Falls, like literally 2 blocks away from Niagara Falls. And it's beautiful.
So from the middle of Omaha, did you ever get you a chance to go to Niagara Falls until then?
No, dude, I hadn't been out. Apart from the moving around I did as a kid, Niagara Falls was, was the last place you'd ever think you saw. You'd think you'd see. You saw it on Superman back in the day growing up.
Yes.
You're like, oh man, that places like that exist only in the movies. I'd never thought that I'd get to do that. And then, obviously, the LFA took me out to LA, and you're like, wow, dude, there's the ocean. So Las Vegas, I did I've done a couple fights in Las Vegas. We're looking to go back, at the end of the year and do a fight at the Palms, which is pretty exciting. But like, wow, like I think, God, I'm tired of all this traveling, and then I'm like, it takes things that you need, things that like, hey, shut up, look what you get to do, life to smack you in the face. Like, really, you're complaining that you have to travel and do all this stuff and then deal with these airports. Like, who cares? Dude, like, you have the greatest job in the world. And I'm like, this is the conversation I have with myself. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I do. I love my job. And if it wasn't for a little bit of adversity, like that I have to go through with, it wouldn't make the good stuff so much better. So as good as it is.
See, and that's what even like my wife will say, oh, you've got this. You've done this so many times. You're good. But like before every show, before every DJ set, I did homecoming for 1,400 kids on Saturday. Before, I'm like, my stomach is turning, like I'm thinking, because I think those are the nerves that we do it for too. It is, even as much as sometimes our stomach will turn, that's how we know we love what we do instead of just going up there. But during that mundane time, and I say it in DJing, I DJ'd with my guy Money Marks probably about 1.5 years ago. And he's EDM, and it pushed me harder than I've ever been pushed before by myself. He was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm challenging myself. I'm taking what you're doing and I want to challenge myself to be better. And I've had some of the best DJ times since then because I got out of that mundane. But it's so easy because you are doing so much traveling and you wear yourself out, or that's why doing so many weddings is hard for me, because I feel I would wear myself out. I don't feel I would put on the best performance every single time. How do you get out of that? And what's some things, is there anything that like promoters help you talk about? Is there anybody that you are a part of with the LFA that you could talk to and kind of feed off of?
That's really not really so much the life, I could get real deep and start talking about manifestation and stuff like that. But it's, you know, when I find myself like, you know, I wish there's other avenues. I want to find something, you know, I want to do something else. You know, I want to get rid of this MMA fight, you know, and then the next thing you know, and then, oh, there's my boxing promotion. They want me to come do boxing. Well, that's good. The Omaha Beef want you to PA announce. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Now we're rolling. Now we're going into different sports. Now we're just not even in combat sports. Now we're in, you know, football. And then I had the opportunity just this last weekend, Adam Sella, a former UFC fighter, invited me to come out and MC to ring announce. It's not even a ring announcing. There's no ring. But to announce a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match, 22 matches. It's an invitational. Marcel Fortuna, Diego Hamalo was the main event. Like, you know, if you're a guy that knows anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like those two dudes are, you know, one dude's a 29-time world champ, you know, in IBJJF. And,
well, I like you brought that up.
Dude,
has there been any surreal moments for you that you almost had to take a step back and realize what you were doing?
A million. Announcing outside at the DLV Event Center in Las Vegas. I'm sitting in it's an outdoor event. I'm sitting there inside the octagon, inside the RFA octagon, and I'm like, your referee in charge of the action is Big John McCarthy. And I'm like, how in the hell did I get here? You know, how did I get here? You know, and then there you are, you put your arm, you know, you refereed it, you know, referee in charge of the action, Big John McCarthy. Then you put your arm underneath the referee's arm so that they can, issue instructions. And I'm like, how many people have the opportunity to be this close to this dude? You know, there's moments like that, or when I'm announcing a former UFC a star, you know, those are, you know, incredible moments that, you know, that you're like,
when you
wow.
say the former UFC, like, how does the movement from going like UFC to a different brand like LFA, how does that stuff go? And do some of these fighters feel like they're owed something because, hey, I was an MMA fighter? Or
so the RFA, I mean, this is a history lesson right here, but so like the RFA was started in Kearney, and the guy that started it there wanted it to be it's a RFA, Resurrection Fighting Alliance.
Okay.
And what he wanted to do was try to resurrect these old careers. I mean, you're announcing Jens Pulver, who's a former UFC world champion. Maurice Smith was a former UFC champion. Gilbert Ivel is a world champion kickboxer. All these dudes, you know, they're wanting to make a resurgence, you know, and he was there to facilitate that. When some other partners came in and bought that, and then they because this model's not going to work. You're not going to be having all these fighters that make $20,000 a fight fighting in Kearney and it'd be profitable.
Yeah.
So they kind of readjusted it and made it into basically a prospect league. So that is now, and so then when the RFA merged with Legacy Fighting Championships, it really became like the premier prospect MMA league in the world, you know. And so then you're just dealing with dudes that are hungry. So you're not dealing with the dudes that are, you know, just give me my money, I'm here to fight, you know.
They're looking to get that step closer.
And it's such the atmosphere is so much better. It's so much better. You know, this is exactly what I mean. If I never climb the ladder and go up to the UFC, you know, because that's the last place I could go really from where I'm at. If I never get there, I'm happy because I'm working with the kids that are their dream is real. And you're there and you're a part of it. And that's a great feeling. So, yeah, I mean, I love it for what it is. It's dealing with those guys. It's the right way because they're hungry. They want to get to the big leagues, and it's exciting to watch that.
Now I have to ask this, and I only do it because I got a friend who's an umpire. He's had his chances to like do some, you know, even up to a storm chaser, but it's like if you're not in with the right clique or if you're not in with the right people, the opportunity for that next level, maybe to get to the NCAA or whatever, for him is slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it's a dog eat dog world when it comes to the announcing world, or do you feel like it's something that you get what you're continuing to earn?
You know, I'm a firm believer, and you get exactly what you deserve. So I'm comfortable in that. It dog eat dog. I mean, I suppose. I mean, there's a lot of dudes that are out there fighting for jobs. I mean, there's dudes that are out there fighting for my jobs, my positions. The promoters show me and send me and talk to me about the emails that they get constantly about dudes wanting my job, and we laugh about it. I'm good where I'm at, and I mean, no one's gonna take my job from me. The people that I work with, I've been loyal to them for years, you know, and in turn they are to me. And so yeah, I don't really take much consideration in it. You know, get in where you fit in. I mean, if there's anyone out there like, oh, I want to do this or do that, if it's meant to be yours, it will be. But you can't just become complacent. You have to go out there and get it. So.
Well, and you're speaking about going out and get it. What do you got coming up here in 2023 as we're about to end and going to 2024? Any big things going for Mike Kendall in the announcing world?
I mean, yeah, I mean, the LFA continues to grow and become better and better. And it's, every show that we do has, huge implications to it. We're going to, I'm flying to Dallas tomorrow morning for an event that we're doing, LFA 169, our 169th event, dude. It's been like, in 7 years, it's been crazy. So that one in Dallas, it's been a long time, over a year and a half since we've been back there to Dallas. So excited for that, of course. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other events that are kind of just.
Are you back in the Beef? Aren't they about to start up too? Or
the Beef will start back up in late spring.
Okay, that's right.
But now that we're in the NAL, I don't know if that's going to change our time of season. Because we left the CIF league, now we're in the National Arena League, and on to bigger, better things. Really, after winning the championship in this last season, which was awesome, man. 13-0. This team that we had this year, with Tommy Armstrong, the former Nebraska quarterback at the helm. Wow, like what an incredible thing it was to see right there at midfield, down right there on the turf, dude. It was.
You had my boy DJ Next One doing his thing and Nick, creating the environment. I mean,
he creates a great environment. Wow. Speaking of DJs, like wow, the players love it, like because he sets the tone before the doors even open. Like he's there playing the music that the players want to hear.
Yes,
and like they're all just like getting it, dude. Like he pumps those dudes up in a way that I could never,
Yeah.
So it's extremely awesome to watch that.
So of course you got these multiple venues that you've been to. What's been the one that you have timestamped that's been one of your favorite memories?
Man, there's so many, but I'd have to say my Graceland, dude, is probably the Pentagon Arena in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, dude. The venue is great. It's very, it's a couple, 2,000-3,000, max capacity. But I tell you right now, like the crowd in Sioux Falls, those people bring it every event that we do up there. So, I mean, they even tailgate the fights, they tailgate before the fights. I'm like these people are serious, dude. So yeah, that's definitely, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the Pentagon Arena up there. That's definitely been one of the great ones. I mean, there's so many beautiful venues. I'm not doing it any justice, but nothing beats the atmosphere in LA, like the beach atmosphere out there, the falls in New York. I mean, everywhere, dude, is beautiful. It's awesome.
So if you think of where you are today and where you started back in the day, is this where you pictured yourself?
Not in a million years. Not in a million years, but I mean, I dreamed of it, and it took a long time to make those dreams come to fruition. I did a lot of fights and events in dirt floor establishments, pole barns, sand volleyball courts, like it's been crazy, but I'm proud that I started at the bottom, and I worked myself up to the top, and in that I lived the dream, and the dream became, manifested in the work that I did and the people that I chose to be a part with.
Well, I appreciate your story. I appreciate your time. Just hopefully someone, if they watch this, they go, man, that's the voice that I want. That's what I want. Just as you used to do when you were younger with Buffer and all that. I mean, everybody knows Let's Get Ready to Rumble is the ideal, the top notch, the want to. But they also can get something small from it as a parent going, man, these struggles that the kids or my son or daughter will have to go through to get to where they are. You got to be able to talk with them through some of that, because not everybody has those people that you can, because they might go, you're not going to make enough money to do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You can't live that dream. Well, you're living the dream because of hard work, dedication, and you are where you are today, getting better for a better tomorrow. So once again, I appreciate Mike Kendall sharing his story as an announcer, ring announcer, but beyond that, he's an entertainer in what he does. DJ K-Dub Omaha with Wired Access Podcasts, part of the Hurrdat production. We'll see you next time.